hey, look who's back. This is what I'm saying, but you might be saying, hey, look, he is back, bad mouthing Nintendo again. And to that I say, give me a chance. Like, come on. See, I'm not bad mouthing Nintendo just for the sake of it. It's not like I'm getting paid for it, literally. But Metroid is a game that is built on lies. I think you guys trust me enough to know that I don't just speak shit. I back up my shit with evidence. I'ma tell you what, that sounded a lot better in my head. I mean, I'm not saying Metroid is a bad game. You know what? Scratch that. I think this shit sucks. And I'm gonna tell you why in a moment. But the name Metroid is actually the biggest lie here. The game isn't a Metroid game. It's basically your run-of-the-mill shooting game that you brainlessly mash through in that one Sunday. With a cast of characters that force me to look up how to kill a fictional character. And by the end of the day, all you remember is you are playing as that one chick you saw on the hentai section in a certain orange website. Now, this video isn't spoiler proof, it does contain spoilers, but the story is such a fever dream, I don't feel like it's canon in the slightest. But I still will try to leave timestamps so you can just skip the story section. And I put a lot of thought behind it, so please, if you just sit with me for the next couple of minutes and hear me out, I believe I can prove you why Metroid 4 isn't a Metroid game. In fact, it's not even a good game. So let's start with just that. What is a Metroid game? So the series Metroid began with its first game named Metroid, released in 1986. And back then Nintendo was popping out bangers after bangers. And they decided to put two of those bangers together. They took the platforming of Mario and the non-linear adventure of Zelda, and they blended both of these together and cooked up Metroid. And it was a hit, where you don't just have to move from point A to point B. This game kicked your tiny little booty in the game world, and that was it really. You are free to explore, find shit and just figure things out. You can explore the world and you will for sure get stuck. You have to backtrack, but it was a proper adventure. Even though the first game is an absolute classic, the next game solidified and gave birth to a genre known as the Metroidvanias. If you don't know, this is where the term came from. The second Metroid, released for the SNES, was simply named Super Metroid. Was one of the greatest games to ever exist, claimed by some people.
Goodbye, pisshead!
Now with even more items, a shitload of puzzles and an even richer story. It had everything. And as I said before, this gave birth to a gaming genre of game like Metroid or the Metroidvanias. Game like Castlevanias and Hollow Knight. Now this game was so goated, they struggled to follow up this game. Yeah, back then they didn't just release half-assed game. Back then, gaming had standards. Anyway, they took a long break until a weird cube with a handle arrived in the gaming space, known as the GameCube. And Nintendo approached Retro Studio to make the next Metroid game. And this time, they wanted it to be a FPP game. No, not UPP, FPP, like first person perspective. Holy fuck, no wonder I got no subscribers. The fuck kind of joke was that? And Nintendo, caring about their IP, I mean, they still do, but in a quite a different manner, asked Retro Studios to not make it a FPS game, but make it a FPA game, a first person adventure game. Yeah, you don't need to look up the word FPA. Trust me, it's there. Just don't look it up. Trust me. Come on. I'm not gonna lie to you. Don't look it up. Please. Pretty please. Retro Studios may not have been pregnant, but they sure as hell delivered.
It's time to stop!
They turned Metroid Prime into a first-person adventure game, where again you are free to go wherever the fuck you feel like. They literally drop your ass in the middle of nowhere and be like, alright brother, you're on your own. With open massive world with thoughts behind every aspect of it. From puzzles to random scan you do every now and then. And of course, item and weapons that unlocks or open up more of the world. They managed to do everything that 2D Metroid was doing, but in a 3D space. There is a lot to explore without minimum handholding. The 2D Metroid games never deviated from what makes a Metroid game. It's just the 3D who fucks thing up. Of course, you will get stuck and you have to use your brain to solve shit, but when you actually put things together by yourself, it feels absolutely amazing. And I'm gonna come clean, as you may have guessed, I'm absolutely brainless. So I don't really enjoy Metroidvanias, and the only thing I hate about them is the backtracking. So I would rather play a really hard game, something like Dark Souls, than Metroid. Mostly because, and I'm not joking, but I have a horrible memory. I can barely remember anything. Like, I don't know if it's a medical condition or not, I'm not really sure, but I, for the life of me, do not remember things. I can start a game and play from beginning to end, and by the end of the game, I'll absolutely forget what was happening at the beginning of the game. What I'm trying to tell you here is, let's say I get an item that opens up the door like 2 stages ago. I will absolutely forget what I'm supposed to do with the item, even if it has a description. Like it says that it breaks a wall or something. Which wall? What are you talking about? I cannot remember things. So it absolutely sucks to get an item and not being able to remember why I needed that item in the first place. And it's so fucked up. Like I genuinely wanna play a Metroidvania. Like for example, the game Silksong that popped up recently. I wanted to play it so bad, but I know I cannot get into it because I don't remember why the fuck I needed that item and why do I have that item. Like what am I supposed to do with it? So I just avoided it and it sucks. Oh no, I think I went on a depressing rant about myself. Anyway, but I can see how that feeling can be enjoyable, like an aha moment. Even though I cannot experience that particular aha moment by myself, I did experience it in another game. Recently, I discovered in Sekiro that there is an illusion breaking seed that you can use to nullify the scream of the giant ape. I have finished this game like multiple times. I am playing a very different mod right now. Whatever, it's not a big deal. But the point being, when I figured that out, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. Yeah, so it's that aha moment. Like, you know, the thing that makes it feels good. I don't know, go figure. So long story short, the 2D and the 3D Metroids are doing just fine. But then disaster happened. Or more specifically, Wii happened. With the release of Nintendo Wii, they tried a new strategy of approaching the casuals. Not your actual everyday gamers, people like your grandparents or the goo goo gaga babies. Huh, now that I say that out loud, who the fuck came up with the strategy? Skywars?
Do not read it!
Anyway, with the release of Wii, Nintendo gave Retro Studios a break after making 3 Metroid Primes and gave the title of Metroid to another studio known as Team Ninja. And now their new demographic being the little babies, they didn't want to make OG Metroid cause it's complex as hell. They decided to make a linear brain-dead Metroid where you go from point A to point B. They literally close the door on you, blocking any chance of backtracking, and upgrades are just handed to you in cutscenes. Dude will booty call you up in middle of battle and be like, yo Samus, you know you got that missile thing in your head? Yeah, you can use it now. Somehow this call unlocks that shit. Logic. Like the main fun of Metroid came from finding the upgrade, knowing that you can now progress somewhere else. But this isn't Metroid, it's brain dead shooter. Understandably, fan hated this Metroid simply because it wasn't Metroid. And I don't know this for sure, but I'm telling you, the name had some contribution to the hate. Metroid the other M? The other M? Why? I, for the life of me, cannot comprehend the name. I'm actually twitching over here. Imagine being a Metroid fan for this long and they drop Metroid the other M? The other M? What the fuck? God, I hate this name so much. I burn it to the ground. Well, regardless, after a while they dropped this. And and Metroid fans all over the world collectively lost their shit. Not cause they added vagina, I think that's one way to say it, but because of this, the name Metroid Prime 4. As I have already mentioned, the Wii game was called The Other M, but the 3D Metroid games made by Retro Studios were all called Metroid Prime. And then there was this disaster. So if it wasn't an OG Metroid game, why would they call it Metroid Prime? They could have named it literally anything, like Metroid featuring actual Zero Suit Samus. You know what, now that I think about it, I would buy it. But regardless, this got people excited again for the name, not for the vegan. They even called up their old buddies Retro Studios to do what they do best. Even the developer stated that it will stand shoulder to shoulder with other Metroid Primes. People were getting hyped that just after a couple of years they can relive Metroid 8 years later. Yeah, they kinda took 8 long years to come up with Metroid 4. And you know a funny detail I forgot to mention, that those massively successful Prime games, yeah, those were all developed by Retro Studios. Nintendo didn't really got involved in any of those and only got involved in the other and now they decided to get involved once again. Oh boy. And to add fuel to the ever-growing fire of doubt, they stated that Metroid 4 will have a brand new story, like a reboot-ish kind of way. And the Prime storyline ended with Metroid Prime 3, confirming to everyone out there that they are going to, or they already have, fucked up Metroid. Okay, so now that you have graduated in Metroid lore, let's talk about Metroid, which I'm just realizing that it kinda took me 15-12 minutes to get into the game. It's gonna be a long video, isn't it? Metroid 4 started all epic and cinematic like, where you are dropped in the middle of a war zone, where Samus is being a bad bitch. Shooting space pirates ripping through enemy defenses is such a great setting to be in, and it shoots your expectation through the roof for what you may encounter for the rest of the game. And coincidentally enough, this is the same 10 minutes that every hands-on video on the internet shows you. And this very 10 minute kinda sold me on this Metroid stuff, and I wanted to try Metroid for the very first time. And guess what? Right after this ends, you are popped in the middle of the vagina hallway, where you go from point A to point B. And this is not what Metroid is all about. I mean, sure, I'm that kind of a guy who will enjoy a linear game, considering I forgot shit like every 2 seconds, but it's not about me here. I can see how people can enjoy Metroidvanias. The adventure is what makes these kinda game good. Not that, yo, I can shoot aliens. There's a ton of games that will let you do that. Games that are way better in shooting aliens than Metroid can ever be. Metroid's strength came from its well thought out gameplay design, the level that will make you look at every nook and cranny, the backtracking that helps you discover new things. Not here though. Just look at the map from the OG Metroid. There's so many branching paths that you can take. In OG Metroid, there were optional areas that you can explore just for the sake of it. But here, again, point A to point B, there isn't much backtracking. There is a little bit of backtracking, yes, but those are always optional. You can always skip them. All they have is upgrades for your missile, which is fine, but in Metroid, those were never the reason for you to backtrack anyway. You backtrack to unlock and explore for that aha moment, not to do chores. Even the upgrades, they are all handed to you as the plot moves forward. They are literally unmissable. There are also puzzles, yes, but it's so stupidly easy that again, they feel like chores than a brain teaser. The branching path / puzzles always funnel you down to the last possible hallway that you need to be in to make progress. So, as I have mentioned earlier, I have never tried Metroid before. I tried Castlevania once, where I got lost for like a couple of hours and I give up. Since I am more or less first time trying a Metroid game, I started the game with the mindset of it being a Metroid game. A game where I cannot just mash through it. I have to explore, I have to look for items, I have to backtrack, I have to use my good old noggin. So when I finally got stuck in this volcano area, I thought to myself, oh well, this is maybe the Metroid part of the game where I have to figure things out. And just for your information, I didn't really got stuck anywhere else in the game because again, it's a linear game where you go from point A to point B. There wasn't really a place for me to be stuck at. So I was going back and forth for good 10 minutes in this little area. I cannot move forward, I cannot use any items, and I am maybe brainless, but I'm not that brainless that I cannot figure out obvious clues. So after a good 10 minutes, I kinda gave up and decided to go back where I came from, where this door got opened through a cutscene. A door that specifically told me that cannot be opened from this side and has to jam it open from behind. Shush. Got opened by a couple of dipshits. Why? I finally thought that maybe this is the place where I have to use that Metroid knowledge, where I have to do the Metroid thing, where I finally will get to use my little brain. Guess not. I mean, why? On an unrelated note, I have played Black Myth Wukong before. In Wukong, every place connects to each other. So I thought it's that kind of deal that I have to explore this little area and this door will connect the whole area to itself. But why? I don't know why this disappoints me so much. Maybe because the door only got open when I finally gave up, but come on, man. As I have said earlier, you can literally turn your brain off and mash through this shit. But this is not why these kind of game exist. You are just wasting time just for the sake of wasting time. There's not any good time to be had here. Speaking of good time, the visuals are absolutely stunning. I'm not just gonna sit here and tell you the game doesn't look good, because it absolutely does. If you're one of those guys who appreciate visuals more, you're going to enjoy this game. Visuals that screams open world, massive waterfalls, luscious looking trees, and a deep forest. Bad news, it's all an illusion. The game looks like a Metroidvania, it doesn't play like one. As someone who has done a bit of research in Metroidvania and has seen gameplay of OG Metroid Prime, I cannot help myself but to think that they are trying their best to mimic the OG Metroid. Here you can see side by side. As you can see here, the newer one very much resembles the old one. The only difference here is in the old one you can actually explore what you can see, while in the newer one you cannot. Now I don't know about you, but it seems like to me that all they have done is apply the new coat of paint, a paint of nostalgia, and it seems that they're trying their best to sell you that nostalgia in the hopes of you not knowing better or you not realizing it. And I won't be surprised if that's what they're aiming for, because in recent times Nintendo has done nothing but try to sell nostalgia, and that's just a sad side. If you are a long time Metroid fan, this is just unexcusable that they took 8 long years to cook up this. It's the other M all over again. And the level, let's talk about it a bit more. One map in this mess of a game that is remotely open world is the desert map. Why does it exist again? There's nothing to do here except collect these green crystals, which we'll get back to later, but for now you just ride this empty piss color level for no good reason. And before one of you little fuckers yells at me with, "Bro, this is desert, it's supposed to be empty," and I am playing a game. If I wanted realism, I can just go and lay in sand, can't I? Oh yes, after destroying aliens and have gone through 5 vagina hallways, oh my bad, vagina hallways, my only complaint supposed to be is why there's no empty desert I can explore. Even if it's supposed to be empty, why will you put it in the game? Who will enjoy this boredom of a ride? And by the way, this whole place is a massive hub world slash loading screen kind of deal, because you are supposed to use this place to go from one place to another, which is something they could have easily skipped. They didn't, because this is why Nintendo is here. They understand us gamers so well, don't they? Anyways, even when you are free to express whatever this is, the Mackenzie, a very special person for whom I have prepared a nude with his name on it, calls you and marks 3 locations in your map that you can go in any order you like. And by this point, the name Metroid has been charred to an extent that is invisible to the naked eyes. Regardless, you listen to him anyways and decided to go in any order as you like. Spoiler, he is lying. you cannot do this quest in any order you like, because between these three locations, if you decide to go to the second one, you can, because the second one is locked. You need the fire shot weapon to open that door, to access that place. And then you realize you have wasted like 10 minutes, because that little fucker told you that you can do this quest in any order you like. And when you indeed decided to do this shitty quest in any order, the slimy little bitch calls you and be like, have you tried to explore the volcano yet? Oh, Mackenzie, you sweet little bitch. And before one of you guys ask, what about the third place? Well, no, you cannot access that until you have finished the first two. But no matter, you decided to do these chores anyways and get the fire chip. How do I get the fire shot? I'm glad you asked. You backtrack to 5 billion loading screens and a Windows 98 texture pack and talk to our favorite guy, who I would torture to no extent if ever given the opportunity, unlocks the fire shot for you. These items / ability were supposed to be a plug and play kind of deal, but now there's a whole lot of shit you have to go through to unlock them. But surely you have to do it only once. Metroid will not have a million different abilities, right? Mother, for the very first time, it feels like the other M was the better game here. At least in those, the idiots have the decency to call you. But here, they managed to further break a already broken system. Regardless, you get the item and now you can finally bust through the shitty ice block and go through the whole fucking dungeon. It takes like an hour and a half to complete and not a single branching path to be found here, by the way. It's all linear hallway, and when you're finally done, your prize is the ice chip, which again you can take back to Mackenzie, the person who I will curse so he stub his toes on the bench, and the moment he heals from the pain, he will stub his toe again. He uses the chip to unlock ice shot, and now that you have unlocked the ice shot, you can go back to the volcano area and do this shit all over again. If you think hearing this is tiresome, imagine the gameplay. And again, I cannot stress this thing enough. Metroid isn't a game that relies on its gunplay to be enjoyable. And you can bet your massive juicy ass that it isn't the case here as well. You are here for the exploration and to find shit. But all you get is this. Speaking of combat, it's also terrible. The OG Metroid has like 70 different enemies and 50 unique bosses. And Metroid 4 got 30 different enemies and 8 bosses. But of course, the lesser number means they are made with extreme effort, from the design to their fighting patterns that will rock the sack of your left testicles. Nope, all you get is massive bullet sponges that I legit fall asleep to while fighting. They weren't that exciting. And weirdly enough, all the bosses throw this massive ring of nonsense at you. I don't know if they ran out of boss ideas or not, cause all of this feels like a copy and paste boss battle. And the desert worm is the worst culprit in this list. Not only the fucker is also a bullet sponge like everyone else that you defeat by biking around, which you have been doing since forever actually, and all you have to do is shoot him in the ass for like 10 million years. And I don't think that was an exaggeration. In OG Metroid, every enemy was unique. Some you had to shoot from behind, shush. Some are invisible, some fly, some comes in swarm. Even the enemies have a puzzle hidden deep inside them. God damn it. But Metroid 4 enemies pops up every now and then, and their behavior or the encounter almost goes the same way. You tank their hit while doing some damage back, and that's it. Again, what's up brain? Just turn it off. Now, you might have noticed my ever-growing love for Mackenzie. Now you are maybe asking like, why do I love him so much? Well, because he treats you like a fucking toddler.
So, where to? It might be a good idea to check the map and get our bearings. Samus, please shoot that thing. Stop moving. Maybe try your new toy. Try your missile, Samus! Might be able to knock it right off the bridge.
What you see in front of you is the entrance to the closest area with a teleporter key.
This game doesn't need hand-holding. I can understand hand-holding for other Metroid games. I mean, I'm a guy who gets lost every other second, so I kind of understand hand-holding in other Metroid games, which is again not a good experience, but I can kinda understand for other Metroid games which are where you can get lost. But this game doesn't need that. You cannot get lost in Metroid 4. But Mackenzie's constant yapping almost made my ear bleed, and no hand-holding was the strongest point of Metroid game. The fact that it's your adventure, you shape it how you wanna shape it. But in Metroid 4, this nutbag made sure that you play the game by his rules, even when the game is linear. Like, for God's sake, brother, I got a working, functioning brain. Let me use it somewhere. But Mackenzie makes sure you do not use your brain in any part of the game. He constantly, and I absolutely mean it, constantly yaps, and he do not stop.
Barely? I already did, Miles. I already did. Shut up, okay?
To the next tower, you'll need to open the big door in this room. But without power, you won't be able to unlock it.
Close.
Would you like to hear that again?
No. I would have liked to have figured it out on my own. Shut up! Jesus Christ! Leave me the fuck alone, bro. I was literally at the lift. I would have figured it out on my own, broski.
Samus, there's something interesting over there. Are you sure we don't need to use that?
I mean, you're joking, right?
I'll follow you to
Okay, so it's like a, it's like
anything about this place,
you know what? Never mind.
Don't want any more space.
This guy doesn't shut up. I think I fixed it.
Finally, I got through. Our lightning storm is playing tricks on my comms.
And the worst part is, he has such a lovely, bubbly character. Like, I am genuinely screaming because he just don't let go of your hand, and on the meantime constantly saying, oh, don't do that, oh, don't do that, oh, please don't go there, oh, please don't go there. It's so annoying. Let's just pretend it's an actual Metroidvania game, not a linear garbage, and he would still ruin the experience. And it's coming from a guy who has a goddamn memory loss. I mean, I want a guide, yes, but not like this. And his bubbliness just adds fuel to the fire. Like, this fucker is enjoying my agony. Like, we're stuck here, Mackenzie. Why are you happy? We can die here. You can die here. And you cannot shut him up. And there are a whole lot of different NPCs. But the weirdest part here, Samus's interaction with these NPCs. And you know why this is really awkward? Because Samus is mute. She doesn't speak at all. And these idiots treat her like she's a celebrity. There's this one girl who I think is probably lesbian, if I'm following the gender chart properly. She's practically drooling while looking at Samus. While Samus is like, even when they quite literally gave their life for her. To my knowledge, she just hates them as much as I do. And I think the hate is canon because Samus can speak.
Hold on, Adam.
So, Samus is a dick. I mean, I like it. Mackenzie can personally burn in hell. Now, the final nail in the coffin. After sitting through this mess of a game with Mackenzie, the white crayon of humans, you reach the end game. And you finally think, I'm gonna finish this game. Ha! No. The game gives you two little fetch quests. First is, you gotta find some pots in this piss-colored desert. And second, you gotta get these green crystals. Green crystals that previously you have passed on, not thinking much about them. Maybe they're miscellaneous item, you have collected some of them for fun, and later you decided to not because why will you? But the reality is far worse than you could ever imagine. You need to collect an undesignated amount of these green crystals, which feels like every single one of them. And for what exactly? The payout is this giant epic looking mech. It's cool, isn't it? Too bad you don't get to pilot it. It only exists in cutscenes. Also, it gets destroyed in like 3 milliseconds, and you need to collect these green crystals to reach the endgame. Now, you might be saying you're overreacting, Raisu. Surely, it's not that big of a deal. To that, I say I'm not reacting enough, cause no joke, it took me 3 hours. 3 god-forsaken hours just biking around collecting these green crystals. 3 hours of my finite life I have wasted biking around in this piss-colored desert collecting crystals that doesn't need to exist in the first place. Literally anything could have been more productive than wasting on this game. 3 hours. God. And by the way, there's this one other thing you get out of collecting these green crystals. Other than it being a fucking plot device, you also get Drum roll for this. A radar that you can use to find more green crystals. If you didn't experience this firsthand, it's hard for you to understand my feeling, but believe me when I say this, if I ever find the guy who thought this was a good idea, I want you to know, I will find you. And I will fucking fuck you. And yeah, you cannot avoid this. It's not a side quest, it's the main quest. You are fucked the moment you decided to buy this game. There's no going back. And this marks the end. And speaking of the end, as I said earlier, the story is a fever dream, which I'm not feeling like going over, but the ending of this game is something else. When I finished the game, I thought it was a bad ending. Maybe I didn't got the true ending. But to kid you not, that was the actual ending of the game. In the end, literally every one of the NPCs you counter sacrifice themselves for you, the main character. The main character, who's a hero by the way, leaves them all to die. And not just to die, you get these agonizing mugshot of every one of them as they were dying in the end. The end. What? What? Not just the game waste your time and money. The game is $70 by the way, but it leaves you in such a what the fuck place. Like you finished the game and you left wondering what the hell happened? Cause everyone dies. You as a hero, you didn't accomplish anything. People died for you and you, the hero again, just pisses off like a pussy while people sacrifice themselves for you. What kinda ending was that? Why does this game exist? Why I even bothered? Should have played Sing Song. I know for any logical player, this is the worst game there is. There's no denying it. But for people who do love Metroid game, is this what you are looking for in a Metroid game? A game once praised for its gameplay design and deep levels and an amazing world is now boiled down to basic shoot 'em up. A shoot 'em up that's not just bad, it's dog shit. Metroid fans, do you like this game? Is this the Metroid experience you guys love? Let me know. And before we wrap this thing up, a huge shout out to you. Yes, you. Without you, this whole video would have been pointless. I have said this before and I'm saying this again. You made this possible. Without you, this video would have been any another random video on the internet. With the world full of people with the attention span of a fucking toddler, you decided to watch through this entire thing. And it means a lot to me. And just so you know, this isn't an outro. This is my gratefulness towards you. And every one of your positive comments are fuel that makes me work toward the next video. It brings me a whole lot of joy when I read through them. And of course, I do read through them. As you may have guessed from the audience of my channel, it doesn't earn much, of course, but you being here is just what I need for me to continue making these videos. So once again, and as usual, thank you so much for being with me. And I will see you boys on the next one.